with something extraordinary, a huge piece of foreign-owned land that's almost becoming a form of national park. This afternoon, the QE2 National Trust announced our largest private land protection agreement ever, and by largest we're talking 10 times the size of the next biggest. The foreigner behind it, hugely successful record producer and songwriter Mutt Lange. So hi Tiffin and cameraman Mike McLeod with an exclusive story covering 53,000 hectares.
Everything is on a massive scale here. And what's quietly been done to restore this private land in the last few years is no exception. You could call it British songwriter and music producer Mutt Lange's labour of love. The cattle are long gone, and most of the sheep.
When I first walked through here probably 10 years ago, it was seething with goats, but you'd be hard pushed to find one now.
7,500 feral goats out of the picture. As for those wilding pines...
But you can see what would happen here if these are left. There's been a huge amount of work done here already.
And property manager Russell Hamilton has overseen thousands and thousands of native plants put back into the land.
Each plant is put in and nurtured. We try and plant about 12,000 a month over about 8 months, 9 months of the year.
And now, as the bird life returns, as this land starts to recover, the QE2 National Trust, invited by the landholder, to put most of this extraordinary landscape of montane and alpine tussock lands, tarns and wetlands under the protection of a permanent covenant, so none of this hard work can be undone.
It's been turned from a grazing proposition to one which is going to be basically a gift to the nation in terms of New Zealand's first private national park, for want of a better description.
At 53,000 hectares, it's 10 times the size of any private land the Trust has ever been asked to protect before.
How much of this area we're looking at is covered by the covenant?
All of it.
All of it?
All of it. Everything you can see here. Right round, 360.
And where are we on the map here?
We're about there.
The proposed covenants cover most of these 4 large high country stations, all except the bright green valley floors, which is where the only pastoral farming on this Crown pastoral land is being done, sheep grazing. Involved from the very beginning, Russell Hamilton is the closest we can get to the man behind it all.
No, he doesn't like media. Nothing against you, Soho, but he's media averse.
Tell me about that vision. Who's he doing it for?
Well, he's doing it for the world, really. We're the beneficiaries. He's concerned about global warming. He's concerned about what's happening in various parts of the world. The Amazon rainforest being chopped down, and we're seeing the forests in Southeast Asia destroyed, and you can't do anything about that on a scale that's happening, but here's something he can do, and he's thought, right, I can do this, and he's just going to do it.
Lange's ex-wife, Canadian singer Shania Twain, wasn't so shy.
Hi everybody! Hello.
But their first land acquisitions, the Motatapu and Mount Soho stations a decade ago, a controversial overseas investment office decision. Helped by the inclusion of part of the Te Araroa public walkway, built complete with huts.
So we're going along where a proposed track is, Russell?
Track will be below us, so high, yes, down below us.
Right.
It'll be on the true left directly below us, but then it crosses and it goes on the true right up to the saddle.
Coronet loop we're talking about?
Yes, the Coronet circle.
The new covenants also include permanent public access to certain areas for recreation, with up to 20 tracks.
That'll be a 3 to 4 day tramp.
Well, it's 52 k's, depends how fast you walk.
The timing of today's announcement couldn't have been better for the Minister of Conservation.
Today is a red letter day for conservation and for the QE2 Trust. Thank you.
This is an extraordinary gift of generosity. If you wanted a practical example that says you've got to judge foreign ownership applications on merits, this deal with Soho Properties and Mutt Lange shows that sometimes these overseas people can be incredibly generous at New Zealand's gain.
How secure is this for the future of this land?
Totally. National Trust covenants are deemed to be indefeasible, which means that they basically have a status equivalent or greater than national parks. They cannot be overturned. So regardless of future ownership, this property will remain with the same protective covenants that are in place once we complete that process.
It's a process all parties are at pains to point out is entirely voluntary. The landholder will still pay the lease on the covenanted land, that there's no other advantage than simply doing the right thing.
There's a huge number of historic archaeological sites all up this river, which will be protected by the covenant.
There's always cynics who want to know what's in it for him.
What is in it for him? It's the satisfaction of actually having done something that he thinks that's a step in the right direction. He likes it here too, and he actually likes Kiwis, so it's very beneficial as far as we're concerned. We're just so lucky that he did look here and decide that that's what he wanted to do. He wants to do something where he can make a contribution and on a scale that he can actually feel as though it is going to make a difference.